I want to welcome you to Life Talk. Thanks for joining us today. You know, the question of purpose is simple and direct, but it's inherently complicated. The question demands bravery. It rises on the belief that we have an utterly indispensable role to play in our own existence because it is not just our own existence. Fulfilling our purpose has an equally critical role to play in the existence of others. It is our part in this ever-unfolding corporate story that we have been granted an indispensable part in. And so, what does purpose tell us anyway? Well, first, it tells us that we're more than just the sum total of our existence. The fact that we have a purpose evidences the fact that we are more than just the sum total of whoever it is that we are. A purpose says that we have a much larger role in this thing that we call life than just the living out of our individual lives. Life is bigger than any of us will ever be as an individual. Now, purpose tells us that we're specifically designed to engage every bit of that expanse. A purpose tells us we are far more than just the sum total of our existence because we're called to do something in an existence that far exceeds us. Purpose tells us that we are more than just us. Second, purpose tells us that there is something greater than us that we're invited to participate in. The fact that we have a purpose tells us that there is something else out there. It tells us that the horizons in life don't come anywhere close to ending at the end of our existence as the single solitary human beings that all of us are. The nature of purpose is such that it will always be bigger than us, and it will always live beyond us. It grants us the opportunity of legacy. It extends our influence beyond our own death when we're no longer here to extend it. These unshakable realities substantiate the fact that there's more out there than we can possibly imagine. Gratefully, the purpose tells us that we are not the end of all that there is. In fact, we are barely the beginning. And that in and of itself is wildly exciting. Third, purpose tells us that we're a piece of a much larger puzzle that would be incomplete without us. Our purpose tells us that this massive world out there, as huge as it is sorely incomplete without us. As big and as enormous and as complicated and as intricate as the world is, it remains less than completely complete without us. We have a purpose in this world that only we can complete. Large or small, complicated or simple, breathtaking or life-giving, regardless of what our purpose is, the world will be incomplete unless we fulfill it. We are utterly irreplaceable, which makes every one of us invaluable beyond any sort of monetary reckoning that we could hope to calculate. Everything that's out there will be less than everything that's out there if we forsake our purpose. And that fact makes us incredibly valuable. Fourth, our purpose tells us that we do not need to surrender to the mundane. Look, our purpose tells us that life is intentional. It is to live out something not in the frustration of random happenstance, but in something for which this life was purposely designed. It tells us that we have the power and the mission to vividly enhance life rather than living in some terribly foreboding mindset while we sit on pins and needles, anxiously waiting to see how life is going to play itself out. There is a destination that has enough meaning and sufficient value to call us to the challenges that will certainly be part of fulfilling that purpose. That we are not here to aimlessly pass by and leave nothing in the passing. To the contrary, our existence is designed to live on beyond our existence, to leave a bold legacy of generational impact, and to do this for those that walk beside us as well as those who will come behind us. Fifth, and finally, purpose tells us that we can deny it. Now, could it be that the first and foremost purpose of purpose is to convince us that we have one? Is it likely that our purpose can only be fully manifest in a manner utterly transformational when we are convinced that we have a purpose to manifest? And possibly the most brilliant way that purpose can do that is by granting us permission to deny that we have one. And any reasonable person would hold that if we're putting so much thought, energy, and passion into a defense of this sort, there must be something there to defend against. Therefore, it is our own arguments against having a purpose that substantiates our actually having one. Today's podcast is drawn from the book, The Self That I Long to Believe In, The Challenge of Building Self-Esteem. I would encourage you to get your copy today at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or wherever books are sold. I want to thank you for joining us today on Life Talk. You will find Life Talk on most podcast platforms, as well as YouTube. And I would also encourage you to check out our daily posts on all of our social media sites. Thanks for being here today. See you next time. Our self-esteem is not diminished by the power of the people around us. Rather, it is diminished by the power that we grant the people around us.